Greetings in the love and in the light of our infinite prime creator, the divine grid programmer. My dear and esteemed viewer, let's discuss the divine grid as I pay homage and hail. With each video offering, I try to remember to pay homage and many thanks to the infinite prime creator, the divine grid programmer. Well, what is a divine grid programmer except another substitution word for God or source? But divine grid programmer is leveraging some of the words that we might be familiar with in our modern science, our modern physics classes and such. The divine grid. And I ask you to refer to the wall of hieroglyphs that I'm standing in front of in this particular video offering, and consider these hieroglyphs as a divine grid, as a net, a background net that's never really been talked about or made public. What the true purport, the true function of these hieroglyphs, ancient writings, and how they were actually a divine grid, a net of energy that's never really been talked about, never really been made public. But the master designers in ancient Egypt used to lay out the figures on the temple wall. These hieroglyphs wasn't something simply to arrange the aspects of art on a wall. It actually had a vibrational component to its use. By today in modern Egyptian biogeometry, to be able to test vibrational qualities for any person, place, or thing to a very, very deep level. This is the divine grid. Here's one of the great secrets of ancient Egypt and the other old traditions connected to the Shakti concept of the Himalayan tradition. And what it actually does, it is a carrier wave that sends all the other energies. It was found by the French it could penetrate thicknesses of lead that could not be penetrated by X-rays. And so they were fascinated by it. And so in applying the negative green carrier wave energy, it is what's inside the physical body actually moves the energy from one location to another, makes the organs work, and it also sends things from one system to another system. Modern physics teaches that the essence of creation is not matter. Despite what you may have learned in school or what seemingly appears real to you, this flesh puppet, genetic vehicle, this container of consciousness, matter is only a facade, an illusion. It is actually, the creation, essence of creation is actually a flexible geometric energy grid behind matter. Consider it the matrix of space-time. Matter actually warps this background space-time grid. And you can find this illustrated metaphorically in many physics texts by a picture of a squared grid printed on a rubber sheet, distorted by the weight of a bowling ball on top of it, which represents, for instance, a planet distorting space-time matrix. So the essence of matter actually is a facade, an illusion, put over a divine grid of sacred geometry. Consider it a net, an energetic matrix of creation was known in ancient times, and that is what the true purport of the hieroglyphs and they're not merely art, it was an energetic net, a divine grid. Similarly to how it is shown in modern physics texts, this net of creation was shown as a squared grid, often metaphorically as a physical net being used to catch birds or fish inside of it. Such illustrations were extremely common in ancient Egypt. In cultures all over the world, the spiritual knowledge of this energetic net, this geometric matrix, both behind all of creation and within every created being, was one of the highest levels of their temple science and spiritual initiation. For instance, In India, it was referred to as the jeweled net of Indra and was part of a detailed initiation system which included learning to activate the power potential, the Shakti, within geometric forms in the yantra practice. In Egypt, the initiates of this knowledge were known directly by the name the Masters of the Net. So, the Masters of the Net, not the internet, not this electronic matter net, but the divine grid, the divine net. Egyptian spiritual texts and temple wall illustrations are filled with explicit references to the net and to the initiation process of becoming a master of these geometric energy patterns. Human initiates are shown in temple illustrations learning how to use nets to catch and cast magic. The spiritual beings who serve the initiator of the Egyptian culture called the baboons of Thoth, Thoth, Metatron, Enoch, are shown casting their nets into the water to catch fish. The hieroglyphic texts which accompany the illustrations give the true meaning of these temple teachings. Their hieroglyphic texts refer to uninitiated human beings caught in the net, caught in the digital matrix, the artificial hive mind, artificial intelligence hive mind, digital matrix. The frequent defense of the negative Anunnaki, caught in the net. Are you caught in the net? Uninitiated human beings caught in the net in the spiritual world after their death and not capable of free movement, whereas the initiate understands the net well enough to be able to use every part of the net, all the geometric blueprints of creation, so to speak, and move freely in the spiritual world. Thoth himself was shown on the temple wall at Karnak in the act of stretching the cord, which is the act of moving from a spiritual center outwards in order to create forms in the physical 3 dimensions of space. The great Hermetic Egyptologist Schwaller de Lubeck labeled this temple illustration Thoth, Master of the Net. In chapter 153 of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and actually in ancient Egypt, this text was known by the much more beautiful title, the Book of Coming Forth into the Light, has a long description of every part of the net which the initiate has mastered. Having mastered the net, the initiate in the text constantly refers to himself as Osiris, having merged in resonance with this divine being who has conquered death and knows how to navigate the higher spiritual realms. When the Egyptian high spiritual culture began to decline with foreign invasions, its knowledge went in 2 prominent directions, to the Jewish culture in Israel and into the Greek tradition. My dear and esteemed viewer, it is my hopes, it is my sincere hopes that you too will wish to become a master of the net. Hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for further video offerings from the Umbanda, New Earth Education Center for Consciousness, and Masters of the Net and Net Mastery. Namaste, Namaskaram.